यमुनातीरावनचारि यमुनातीरावनचारि जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज विहारी जय ओम विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिव्राजकाचार्य अष्टोत्तर शतश्री श्रीमद् हिज डिवाइन ग्रेस एसी भक्ति वेदांत स्वामी शिल प्रभुपाद की जय। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय। All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayamudirayet nashtaprayesha bhadreshu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttamashloke bhaktir bhavati naishtike Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Om namo bhagavate vasudevaya Granth Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 7, Chapter 14, Ideal Family Life, Text number 2. Shri Narada Uvacha Gruheshwavastito Rajan Kriya Kuruvan Yathochita Vasudevarpanam Sakshad Upasita Mahamunin Gruheshwavastito Rajan Kriya Kurvan Yathochita Vasudevarpanam Sakshat Upasita Mahamunin Gruheshwavastito Rajan Kriya Kurvan Yathochita Vasudevarpanam Sakshat Upasita Mahamunin. Please chant. Good. Shri Narada Uvacha Griheshwavastito Rajan Kriya Kurvan Yathochitaha Vasudevarpanam Saksha. Thank you. Upasito Mahamuni. Srinarada Uvacha. Sri Narada Muni replied, Gruheshu, at home, Avasthita, staying. A householder generally stays home with his wife and children. Rajan, O king, Kriyaha, activities. Kurvan, performing. Yathochitaha, suitable, as instructed by the Guru and Sastra. Vasudeva, unto Lord Vasudeva. Arpanam, dedicating. Sakshat, directly. Upasita, should worship. Mahamunin, the great devotees. Translation and purport by Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Narada Muni replied, My dear king, those who stay at home as householders must act to earn their livelihood, and instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves, they should offer these results to Krishna, Vasudeva. How to satisfy Vasudeva in this life can be perfectly understood through the association of great devotees of the Lord. Purport. The format for Grahastha life should be dedication to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In Bhagavad Gita, chapter 6, text 1, it is said, Anashrita karma phalam karyam karma karotiyaha sa sannyasi cha yogi cha na niragnir na chakriyaha. One who is unattached to the fruits of his work and who works as he is obligated is in the renounced order of life. And he is the true mystic, not he who lights no fire and performs no work. Whether one acts as a brahmachari, grahastha, vanaprastha, or sannyasi, he must act only for the satisfaction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vasudeva, Krishna, the son of Vasudeva. This should be the principle for everyone's life. Narada Muni has already described the principles of life for a brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyasi, and now is describing how a grihastha should live. The basic principle is to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The science of satisfying the Supreme Lord can be learned as described here. Sakshad Upasita Mahamunin. The word Mahamunin refers to great saintly persons or devotees. Saintly persons are generally known as munis or thoughtful philosophers concerned with transcendental subject matters. And Mahamunin refers to those who have not only thoroughly studied the goal of life, but who are actually engaged in satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Vasudeva. These persons are known as devotees. Unless one associates with the devotees, one cannot learn the science of Vasudevarpana, or dedicating one's life to Vasudev, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In India, the principles of this science were followed strictly. Even 50 years ago, I saw that in the villages of Bengal and the suburbs of Calcutta, people engaged in hearing Srimad Bhagavatam daily when all their activities ended, or at least in the evening before going to bed. Everyone would hear the Bhagavatam. Bhagavata classes were held in every village, and thus people had the advantage of hearing Srimad Bhagavatam, which describes everything about the aim of life, liberation or salvation. This will be clearly explained in the next verse. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. This talks about ideal family life. And one might argue that there is nothing ideal in family life. Um, but there are great personalities who have demonstrated how they have perfected their lives by being in, from a spiritual perspective, the most treacherous phase of life. Because if you ask the great personalities, they say that brahmachari ashram, sannyas, vanaprastha, these are all very difficult ashrams. And grihast ashram is the impossible ashram. Still, there are personalities who've done very well. And they inspire, because they've done very well, they inspire the general population that fits that ashram mostly. The brahmachari, vanaprastha, and sannyas ashram is thinly populated, while the grahast ashram is fully populated. In fact, it's all about population, right? Because unless you populate, you don't have future brahmacharis, you don't have future sannyasis. So, in that section or department, there needs to be very um, great examples. Plus, one has to learn a very important principle in Grahastha Ashram. That important principle is called Vasudeva Arpanam. A Grahastha who learns this is a happy Grahastha. It sounds like an oxymoron, right? Happy Grahastha. There's nobody who's happy, but there's a happy Grahastha. And the happy Grahastha is when there is Vasudeva Arpanam. Unless one learns this fine art, one will be full of difficulties. But as soon as one even little bit learns how to live Vasudeva centered life, then that ashram is not difficult. In fact, it becomes a pleasurable, a joyful service. Because everything is seen from that perspective, Vasudeva Arpanam. So, this whole purport is two things primarily. One, that Grihastha should live and learn to live a Vasudeva centered life. And to know how to live that life is the second. We have to learn from great devotees. Upasita Mahamunin, by worshipping great devotees. They teach us. So now we would say worship. There are many ways of worshipping. One is the actual worship this way. But in the modern context, there are two more potent forms of worship. And one is hearing from the sadhus. That's more potent than worshipping, actually going through the ritual of the artik, which also is important, no doubt. But hearing from the sadhu is more important. I know that there are some sannyasis who tell their disciples, no need for all this washing of the feet sort of activity, rather that you hear from me carefully. Bhaktisiddhanta also said like that. More than the worship of the guru, it's important to hear from him. That's better worship. So that's one, to hear from them. And the second is to serve them. In fact, it is described in Bhagavatam, right? In the beginning of the second chapter of the first canto. So right there, he says, one who faithfully serves the great devotees. Great service is done because by that service, one gets the taste for hearing about Krishna. It's very, very simple. As soon as we serve the devotees, our taste for hearing goes up. That's how they are connected. Service to Vaishnavas or Bhagavatas and access to Bhagavata. They're connected. Of course, we may say, oh, we don't see each other as Bhagavata, but we are. We are maybe tiny. We may be one page of the Bhagavatam. We may be one volume of the Bhagavatam. We may not be the entire 12 cantos walking around. We may be a sentence in the Bhagavatam. We may be a word in the Bhagavatam. That might say text 2. That's all we may be. Not even the Sanskrit. Text 2. But still we're Bhagavata. Small, tiny Bhagavatas. So serving is very profound. And this by such activities, then we look up to the great examples. We learn to take from them how they lived their life under different challenges. So I have dedicated my 2016 to telling stories. I don't know how long it will last because I don't know so many stories, but as long as we last. Sthira is not here, but I promised to tell the story of Rantidev, who was a king. So here it says Vasudeva Arpanam. So Prabhupada writes that here in the translation, householders must act to earn their livelihood instead of trying to enjoy the results of their work themselves. They should offer these results to Krishna. So Rantidev was a king. He was not an ordinary householder, very, very successful king. And he understood that if I perform austerities for the benefit of my citizens, then Krishna will be very pleased. So he went on this month-long fast for 1 month. No eating, no drinking. That's how he lived. So at the end of the month, when it was time to break his fast, his royal kitchen had set up a very beautiful luncheon, big banana leaf, nice golden plate under it, varieties of foodstuffs. Ranting, and she was gobbling in all the carob laddus. She was also fasting. So when the time came for them to break their fast, their royal ministers were standing around them, fanning them. They sat down to eat, and just about when they were about to start, they were perhaps saying Mahaprasade, Govinde, some prayer. A person walks in, a Brahmin, very frail, skinny, shivering. And so Rantidev asks him, actually, there's a little skirmish at the entrance. And the ministers are telling the Brahmin, please wait. The king has been fasting. Just give him some time. Let him eat something. No, no, no. I have to meet the king right now. So Rantidev, any one of us noticed how we are at midnight or 1 o'clock of Janmashtami? The first thing we want is to gobble a little of Charanamrit so that we don't get very testy and irritable beyond midnight, right? We're suffering for something to go in. At that time, if someone disturbs us, it's the most irritable time. So Ranti Dev stops and says, who is this? Oh, there's a Brahmin, but it's okay, we'll wait, help him to wait. No, 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 bring him in. And the Brahmin is like shivering. What is the problem, Brahmin? I haven't eaten in many days. Ranti Dev didn't say, I haven't eaten in a month, dude. He said, okay, what would you like? And he gave him half. And it's described that that Brahmin ate away half of what was cooked. And Rantidev didn't think, man, this skinny guy, what kind of appetite, man? You should not even think like that. It said then that offering is contaminated. Rantidev happily served him. And then what was half was left, he sat down to eat. It had not even begun when there was another skirmish at the entrance. What is it this time? Oh, king, there is a Shudra. Shudra and his wife or someone. Oh, what is the problem? Oh, we're very hungry. Very, very, very hungry. Okay. Take whatever is left. He gave that to. Some little thing was left. I think there was some water left or something. I forget the detail now. And he was about to drink the water when again there was someone who knocking at the door. And this time it was a chandala, a dog eater. He had like 4 or 5 dogs with him. And the guards were saying, "Oh, get lost. The king is busy. He is only now getting water to drink." So Rantidev asked him, "Come on in. What is it?" "Oh, my dogs are very hungry. I'm very thirsty. We haven't had any water. Please take away this water also." And it's described that Rantidev gave everything, and all in his mind was only one phrase: Krishna Arpanam. Let it all be for Krishna's pleasure. So, giving charity, one has to have that consciousness, Krishna Arpanam, that this is for Krishna's pleasure. I'm offering this for Krishna's pleasure. Even if in his mind he had a little, whatever that thing is, then Krishna will not touch that offering. Because it suddenly becomes offering in the mode of passion. Like in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna describes charity in the mode of ignorance, in the mode of passion, in the mode of goodness. So, in the mode of ignorance, charity means giving charity to the wrong person at the wrong time for the wrong purpose. So, someone says, "I'm very hungry. Here's $5. Get a Mac from McDonald's or something." That's charity in the mode of ignorance because you have encouraged meat eating. Or you go to a bar and you said someone, "I'll buy you a drink." Oh, fantastic. That's charity in the mode of ignorance. And wrong place and wrong time. The charity in the mode of passion is that which is given but with the hopes and desires for recognition, for acknowledgement, etc. So then, or given with a bad attitude. Ha, these people, they're always asking me for money. Whatever, take it. I want to be known as a good man. Take it. That's charity in the mode of passion. Giving begrudgingly. The charity in the mode of goodness means it's given to a Brahmin. And it is given properly along with the distribution of prasad and kirtan. And then transcendental means you give charity to a Vaishnava. Once you give it to a Vaishnava, you can be fully confident that it will be used in Krishna's service in different ways. Even if the Brahman the Vaishnava uses it in what is called something personal, one understands that even within that, their consciousness is that they're serving Krishna. So whatever they're using, their body, mind, and words, whatever the charity they use it for, that is still service to Krishna. So Rantidev just gave everything. And then later they figured out all these persons who had come to test him at that time were great personalities. It was Lord Brahma, King Indra, and Lord Shiva and Parvati. They had come to test him. They had come to show that this is how one lives his life and her life, his wife too, in Krishnarpanam mentality. It's not the charity, the Krishnarpanam is not when Krishna forcibly takes and then we say, this is for you, Krishna. Prabhupada uses the story of the man who had a paper cone. It was filled with popcorn, with nice butter and salt, and it was smelling very nice hot popcorn. And he was like, I'm going to go home and eat this popcorn. And while he was walking, there was a gust of wind, and all the popcorn flew. And he said, "Oh, Govinda, this is for you." Not this kind of charity. Now that it is blown away, "Oh, Govinda, this is for you." Govinda doesn't want flying popcorn. Or there's a joke about how they used to give charity in the previous yugas. In Satya Yuga, it is described that a man would draw a circle and hold all his gold coins and throw them like this. Whatever fell inside the circle, he would offer to Krishna. Whatever went outside the circle, he would keep for himself, to maintain himself. Then the next Yuga came after Satya and Dwapara. By the time Satya and Treta and Dwapar Yuga came, they said circle is too much, just a line. They drew a line and said, threw their money. Everything that fell to the left side, they kept for themselves. Everything that fell to the right of the line was for Krishna. In Kali Yuga, people are very intelligent. They said they hold their coins, they throw it up in the air, and they tell Krishna, whatever you catch is yours. Whatever falls to ground is mine. This is the charity in Kali Yuga mentality. Not that kind of. That is not Govinda Arpanam or Krishna Arpanam. So then we have other stories. In Lord Chaitanya's pastimes, there is Srivas Pandit, like we say, Srivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Srivas. Srivas was a householder. And Lord Chaitanya noticed that Srivas is always hanging around Lord Chaitanya, who's a sannyasi, from morning till night. No, not going for his job, no occupation, nothing. Never counted his money and didn't know what was coming in, what was going out, no cash flow ideas. So one day Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, Srivas, you're there in the night kirtans, you're there in the daytime. Although it was said, this is a side point, that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu started his night kirtans, they would dance and sing all night. And all day they would be working. They never slept. I don't know how they survived. It'd be a nice training for us how to keep awake in Bhagavatam class. That would be fantastic. If we start there, that would be good. So anyway, he said, Srivas, I never see you earning any money. How will you live your life? So Srivas said, I will clap my hands 3 times. If money doesn't come, then I will drown myself in the Ganges. We can also try. Then we'll find a Lake Michigan, walk right in. All right. But the point was, Srivas's description was that basically, my dear Lord Chaitanya, you are maintaining me. And they will never, and you are the husband of the goddess of fortune. So one who's your devotee, Krishna Arpanam, will never go hungry. And if I go ever hungry, then I would rather die. And you, as the Supreme Lord, will never let me perish like this because you've given your promise. Basically, it was, I'm fully surrendered to you. You're maintaining me. I'm not worried about it. Now, many of us cannot clap 3 times and food won't come to the table. So, for most of us, here Narada Muni says, one must act to earn their livelihood. The Srivas was not irresponsible. Srivas was way beyond the level of such duties. In fact, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was very insistent that a householder should take care of their finances properly. Why? So that it is easy to give in charity. There was a devotee called Vasudev. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to Vasudev, and Vasudev was very rich. As they say in English, stinkingly rich. But Vasudev used to give all his money away in charity. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu asked him, Vasudev, how are you managing your finances? Oh, Lord Chaitanya, I don't know. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu called another devotee and told him, you please maintain his passbook, checkbook, and make sure everything is properly balanced. Because Vasudev is not into money, but you should take care of his finances for him. So there's a guy called Andy Stanley who wrote this wonderful book. I forget the name of the book. Do you remember? Anyway, he made a church that his father bequeathed him. He was with 100 congregation members. In 15 years, it is one of the largest, what they call mega churches in America, among the top 5 mega churches. It's called North Point Ministries. And he did certain things that were very fascinating. So he wrote a book about it. And in one of them, he says that he taught his congregation about money. Because charity is very important, because most churches live on or survive on charity, like we do too. So he said that for most people, when they earn their money, their model in which they manage their money is this: earn, spend, save, and then give. So, what happens by the time it comes to give? There's hardly anything to give, because that's their model: earn, spend, save, give. He said that he spent a lot of time educating his congregation in the new model, and that new model was earn, you give, you save, and then you spend. Then you live a simple life. People should have that mentality. First thing is to give, then you save, and then you spend. And he said that in few years of constantly helping them, a large part of his congregation, they changed their lifestyles. They understood the importance of giving. Because when one gives, then one begins to live that Krishna centered. Because that consciousness is this is for Krishna's service. Because a grahastha generally, unless you're in ISKCON Chicago, has a model of lifestyle that doesn't allow for service. From morning till night, has to be busy with work, and you get very few hours here and there to do some seva. So the best seva is to support others who are distributing Krishna consciousness in a varieties of ways. Books and prasadam and going out and preaching and serving the deities, etc. This is all the way Grahastha supports. That's important to learn it. So then the final is a story of Kuresha. Kuresha is a disciple of Sri Ramanujacharya, and his stories are just super fascinating in terms of his giving. So it's described that Kuresha used to live near Sri Rangam. And before he became a devotee, he was very, very, very rich man. And his richness was discussed this way, that at sunrise, everyone would hear the opening of the iron gate of his home, which meant he was ready to give in charity. And the only time that that gate would close is at sunset. And between sunrise and sunset, anybody could go to Kuresha and ask whatever they wanted, and he would give them away. He would give it away. So once in the temple, the deity of Ranganath, I don't know if you've seen the deity, I haven't seen, but I've always aspired to see. He's a lying down Vishnu deity. And there is Bhudevi and Sri Devi. So one of the consorts of the Lord, she asked, what is that noise every morning? Because Lakshmi Devi is the goddess of fortune. She has the most wealth. And Ranganath told her, oh, that is Kuresha. He is very charitable. She said, more charitable than you or us? Yeah, very charitable. So even the Lord used to discuss about Kuresha. Then, of course, the story is that Lord, he meets Ramanujacharya and becomes a wonderful devotee. And his spirit of charity was such that Lord Ranganath would be eager to see him. So here's a pastime what happened. One day, and Kuresha by this time had become a devotee and he had given up all his wealth. So he was down to nothing. He was become very poor materially and very rich spiritually. So he was impoverished that way, no money. But he was very hungry one day. And he was in the corner, lying down on the floor, famished. So his wife felt a little sorry for him. And at that time, she heard the bell ringing. like you're hearing the bell ringing now. It was Raj Bhog time. It was the time for Ranganath's lunch. And Ranganath's plate is like this huge, massive plate with good quantity of high quality bhoga. So, in his wife, her name was Andal, in her heart there was a thought, oh, Ranganath, you're eating amazingly. Your devotee is starving here. And so, out there at the temple, when the bell was ringing, the deity of Ranganath told the head pujari, come here, stop the offering. Take this plate, the Braj Bhog plate, and take it to Kuresha's house. He's hungry. That deity used to talk to the pujaris. Did he talk to you? He used to take the plate. So they took the plate, covered it nicely, and there was a whole band procession along with the plate because it is the Lord's paraphernalia. So they all came to Kuresha's house with music, and they put the plate in front of him. And he said, "What is this, Rajbab? We all know, right? 12 to 12:30. Why is it here? It should be on the altar." They said, "No, no." Ranganath said, "This is for you. You should eat." So he was surprised. So he looked to his wife. Did you by any chance offer any prayer about food, prasadam? So she said, I am very sorry. I couldn't see you lying down like that. You haven't eaten in days. I couldn't control myself. I had to offer a prayer to Lord Ranganath that you're starving. So Kuresha said, this is not a good idea. You should not pray like that. But since Mahaprasadam is here, he offered his obeisances. He took a little bit from it. He gave her a little bit. And he said, please distribute this to the entire village. He was not like, I got the Mahaprasad. You know, sometimes when wonderful sweets are offered on the altar and they come down to the pujari room, they never come down to the prasadam hall. You don't know what happens to them. Very mystically, they vanish. You know, somehow. You ask the pujari, they say, I don't know. You ask the transfer pujari, I don't know. But they vanish. So especially on the days that are special, they vanish. But at Kuresha, he distributed to the whole village. And Andal's love for her husband was supposedly so amazing that by eating that little Mahaprasad, it's described that she was pregnant with two wonderful boys who later became Parashar Bhatta and his brother, I forget the name. And these two children were so special that generally, when you touch a baby, you have to take a bath before you step on the altar because babies are cute but super moochy. But Ranganath, he said to the pujaris, you put two swings on the altar and you place these babies on those swings on the altar and whole day you swing them so I can see them. So the babies grew up on the altar, literally in Sri Rangam. Very special. Then, of course, he became the next Acharya for the Sri Vaishnava. But the point is, Kuresha's spirit of charity was so amazing in his service to Krishna that Lord Ranganath took notice of it. So that's the spirit. If we remember something from today, in addition to the stories, is this word Vasudeva Arpanam. That it is done for Krishna's pleasure. Therefore, Krishna says, whatever you eat, whatever you give up, whatever austerity you take up, do it as an offering unto me. Yad karoti, yad ashnati, yad juhoti, yad dadati yad. Yad tapasyasi kaunteya, tad kurushva mad arpanam. Do it as an offering unto me. So you see Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam going in parallel here. Okay, any comments, questions, thoughts, stories, objections? Okay. It was nice to see all of you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. की जय।